Thank you for listening to Sometimes Social. We just want to warn you that this audio may contain explicit language that may be inappropriate for some audiences.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sometimes Social.
Hi,
My name's Luis.
and I'm Yesenia.
I was going to say cheers.
Let's do it.
Cheers, I guess.
Cheers with our water. We just finished eating and we're super full and we can't drink today, but we'll drink again tomorrow.
All right, so before we get into today's topic, I want to invite everyone to please subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you are one of the listening platforms, please leave us a rating and a review. We really appreciate all of your feedback, good and bad.
No, not bad. I always have to say not bad
Yes,
one.
but that's how we learn. That's how we learn. Just don't be too harsh, okay?
Don't make me cry.
So we're in for a good one today, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, we got another guest with us today.
Yep.
And today we're talking about...
Life after parole.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. It's actually not that bad, though.
So I think a lot of people know somebody who has been in prison, but not a lot of people have actually been in prison.
Well, no. Although a lot of people are in prison.
Right, yeah. But,
Like, aren't the prisons overpopulated?
But an overwhelmingly overwhelmingly percentage of the population doesn't go to prison.
No. Which is good.
Yeah, it is good. But it's also a very captivating topic.
Yeah. I think, like, for me, it's like I can't say I don't know anyone because I know the guest. I know the guest, but, like, I don't even, like, when I see him on Facebook, I forget that he went to prison. Like, I don't see him like that. Like, he doesn't carry himself.
Right. Well,
I feel he doesn't carry himself like that.
It's because he's changed.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't think of him as,
Well, let's bring him in.
All right, let's do it. So in today's episode, we will be having a special guest, my cousin Luis.
Strong name.
Will be joining us to talk a little bit about life after parole. So let's bring him on. Thank you for joining us, cousin.
Thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Another day, another dollar.
Exactly.
50 cents inflation.
Yeah, there you go.
So I guess let's start off a little bit about, I guess what happened, life after parole. You went to prison. Can you tell us a little bit about, what happened?
Okay, yeah. Basically, I did 12 years on a 14-year sentence. I was in for voluntary manslaughter. It was really just an act of violence that occurred. Something that it was a stupid kid doing stupid things in those days, and I paid for it. I received a consequence for it. I did the 12 years. I was released in 2008, and I didn't look back. I've been out ever since. I didn't violate once. I didn't, sway from, a good path that I was on. I was on one of the toughest parole programs that you can have. I was on a special security unit, and that meant that I had somebody, from the Department of Corrections on me at all times, following me. If I went to work, they were in the parking lot. If I went home, they were parked outside.
Wow.
If I, went to Disneyland, they were there. So, I guess, it was quite an experience.
How long was that? How long did that parole last for?
3 years. Yeah. And it was zero tolerance on anything. And it was like I couldn't look the wrong way, which was really, really tough, because of course, I came from the higher levels of custody. I was, I had a certain mindset at that time which made it, very difficult for me to kind of adjust to society and how society works. So it was quite difficult at first, but I started to like it. I started to like freedom a lot. And I did. Little by little, I liked that. I liked freedom over going back and forth, I guess, into the system. And I decided to stay out, and try to do something with myself. And so far so good.
I know last time we spoke, you had mentioned about, making that adjustment after you got out because of what you experienced in prison, and
Yeah.
how it was in there. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, what is it like in prison? I think you're probably the only person that I know, like, what is it like? Like, I couldn't even imagine what it's like in there.
Well, it's not like the movies portray it, raping all the time and stabbings. I think it's more of uh, a mental mind game that's played every single day. Every single day. You're worried. You're always on your toes, quote unquote. You're always on the defensive. You can't trust anybody. Um, it's you're surrounded by a bunch of people, but it's very lonely because of the distrust. It's violent. It's very violent. Um, the you're in there with some real psychos. Some guys that are just call that environment their house, their home, that's their lifestyle, and they've accepted that. And they live by it. And so those are the guys that, kind of have control. And so you have to kind of, follow this path. And, you literally, what saved me was, I was, I was very, very strong, mentally. I was dying inside, but outside, you couldn't tell. It was just like, okay, well, let's roll with the punches. Let's swim with the current, not against it. And by the grace of God, I got away with what I had to get away with, and by the grace of God, I didn't get hurt very bad. And by the grace of God, I'm out here now. I'm out here now. But it is something that I wouldn't wish on anyone. It's a terrible, terrible way to live. Terrible.
Right. So you spent 12 years out of 14 in there, right? You got sentenced to 14. You spent 12.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the day you got out?
The day I got out, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it actually. I was scheduled to get out on a Saturday, and since I was going to be a special security unit parole, um, they don't let those types of custody out on the weekend. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get out this Saturday. I'm not, I'll be all right. And they called my name, at 6:50, I believe, in the morning. Is, hey, you're up. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't not believe it. I had all these. I was like a little 12-year-old boy, looking at this little girl that he liked, and he just got all these feelings. It was incredible, an incredible feeling. And I walk up to the guard and I said, hey, you sure you're talking about me? Yeah, it's you, man. You're up. You're getting out. And then I was like, wow. And the guard, it was funny. The guard said, he goes, are you paroling to this county? I said, no, I'm going to San Diego. He goes, thank God. And I said, oh man, it's not even like that. I was really happy. When I finally, got out of the gate, it was my mother, my father, and my stepfather and my stepmother that, went to pick me up. And, my mother was the one that was there through thick and thin. My dad, wrote me a letter every once and again, maybe went to see me like twice. But my mom went to see me 3 times every year. Every year she went to go see me. And which was cool. I appreciated that a lot, a lot. And, I told her, we did it. We made it. we're done. We're out, and they're like, yeah, let's go home. And I was on the way home, they had like all these plastic bags. I'm like, what are all these bags for? Like, oh, well, in case you get car sick and you throw up and this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh man, I don't think so. And then I started moving. I was like, whoa, well, wait a minute, maybe it is kind of,
Yeah.
'cause I haven't been in a car in so long,
Yeah.
And they took me to breakfast. They took me to this, I believe it was an IHOP or a Denny's or whatever, and it was full of people. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna step in here because it's just people are walking behind me. I can't have people behind me. I can't have people too close. I can't, people are just like, and it was very, very, very difficult. My mom's like, don't worry about it. It's okay. This and that. I said, okay, well, if I can sit against the wall and I can look at everybody, then okay, we can sit here. And we actually had to wait for the table um, to sit there. And I ate, and of course I ate within 3 minutes because you're only allotted so much time to eat in there. And I was like, no, 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 okay, let's go. And everybody was like, dude, we're barely on our pancakes. What the heck? I was like, oh, my bad, my bad. Um, but yeah, that, it was really that I went from giggly feeling to feelings of fear. I was really, who's who, what's what. Um, and it's funny because I was very used to having control, because after like 4 years, I was giving a lot of control. A lot of control was given to me, and I liked everything a certain way. I was very, very militant in how I had things. And what I do remember about that day was my dad and my stepdad started to kind of argue, have like a little pissing contest on who was going to pay the bill. It was a large bill. I think it was like $50 or $40. It wasn't that big. And they were like, no, well, I'll pay for it. No, 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 I'll pay for it. Well, this is, and I said, you know what? Hey, stop, both of you, stop right now. I told, I think my stepfather, he was driving. I said, thank you for driving us. I said, and thank you for paying the bill. And that was it. Yeah. and because I couldn't, I had all these people. I was going crazy with all these people, and now I had this little like kind of argument going on, and it was like, no, I don't need this, so I need to nip it in the bud. And that's what I think I always did. I any problem, I shut it down almost immediately. And but yeah, we came home. There was a big the whole family actually. Some family didn't go because they were like, Luis isn't going to get out on a Saturday, man. That guy, he's not, he's going to be on high control, So some family went, some family didn't go. I understood. I was like, no worries, I'll catch up with these guys later. It was a big party. Another problem. It was a problem because even though this is family, I remember I saw my brother, my youngest brother, Daniel. He was a little kid. And when I saw him again, he was a full man. He was a full man, and he had a weight problem. He was like 300 and something pounds. And I'm like, who in the heck is this guy? They go, that's your brother Daniel. And I was like, holy crap, he's a whole man. This guy's a man. He's a beast. Jesus, he's gonna crush me. And I saw my brother Hector. Lost all his hair, and I was like, ooh, that's Hector. Where's his hair? I'm like, and I failed to realize that my mindset was when I wanted to see everybody again, I wanted to see how I left them. Right. And when I saw them, it was like a shock to see them as adults, as grown, individuals. My cousins, my aunt's a little older, it was like a shock. It was like a shock. So a lot of things were happening. And a lot of feelings of, a lot of emotions of like, wow, oh no, wow, oh no. And that night, I remember that night, I just sat out in my mom's porch, and I was like, man, I really, that's when I realized, okay, I did it. It's over. It's really over. Now let's see what's next, and that's when it started, It was really, really that feeling of relief. I remember that feeling so like it was, I just did it. It was like, wow, it's over. Finally, it's over.
Yeah.
Everybody was gone. It was just me and this big hill, and I was just like, man, it's over. I can't believe it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It was
So
really, really cool.
so you say it was like a feeling of relief, but I remember last time we spoke, you also said that you had full intentions of like still pursuing that
Oh,
lifestyle
yeah.
that landed you in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I got out, um, I had to go to the parole office. And that's when, the people that were in there get out, on, for example, that Saturday, they got to go that Monday. And when I went back to San Diego, they're like, holy crap, it really is you. You really are out. We don't want no problems. And I was like, well, you got a problem. You guys got a problem. You guys got a problem. And we're going to talk later on. Um, one of my friends that was from my neighborhood was actually turned into a pastor. And he was like, Luis, and I really didn't remember. Like I said, I couldn't remember my own brothers. I didn't remember this guy. He's like, dude, it's me. It's me. And I'm like, I don't remember you. Back up. But it's me. I can't believe you can't remember me. We used to hang out. And I go, I'm sorry, I don't. We'll talk later. Give me your number. We'll talk later. He goes, I don't want to give you my number. I was, and I was like, okay, well, you don't. But yeah, I had full intentions of being antisocial. Revenge was a lot. Was very heavy on my mind. Very heavy on a lot of people that wronged me. The system. I was very much against the system. Law enforcement. Correctional officers. I had a list. I had a list of things I wanted to do. But as time went on, I got used to eating, at whatever time I wanted to, eating whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. That was like a big thing for me. It wasn't even the girls, to be honest. It wasn't even like, really, it was the food that I was like, I can have a pizza right now. Like I can have a burrito right now. I can really walk down the street and buy a burrito, like right now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and the taco shop is open, or it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I can go get a donut, or it's 3 o'clock in the morning and 7-Eleven will offer me a sandwich. I mean, whatever it was, those options were available to me. And I remember those feelings of, man, this is cool. This is cool. And those feelings started overtaking the feelings that I wanted to get the revenge, to be the bad guy, to be antisocial, for all that stuff started going away. I was like, a bowl of cereal that night. I told you guys, I was like contemplating in my room, should I get up? Can I get up? I saw the door. I opened the door so quietly, looking around. I was like, I'm not going to make any noise. I'm walking to the kitchen. And my brother's like, what are you doing? I'm like, shut up. It's like, hey, what do you want, a bowl of cereal? And he started messing around with the dishes, making all this noise. I'm like, dude, shut up. He's like, bro, you're not in prison anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right, man. I guess you're right. So I made a bowl of cereal, and so those were the things that really, I started to like, you know what I mean? It was just really cool, that I got to drive for the first time. In a long time, I was like, oh man, I can drive, I can go to the beach, I can, I can do whatever, but that negativity was still, in the back of my mind. And, it took a while, it took a while, for it to go completely away, for it to just say, okay, you know what, this is what I want. This is what it's all about right here. This is way better than being in there and being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. This fantasy land, it's almost in there. It's like you think you have this control, but you really don't have anything. It's really, really hard in there. And I just figured, out here, it's just way better, and I like it. I really, really like it.
You said you had a list of things, obviously, like some were ill intent, but did you have a list of like other things that you wanted to do? Like you're finally, you're gonna get released. Like, I don't know, my top one on my list would be like I want to go to Disneyland. Like what were some
Go.
things that you like wanted to do, you know?
When I first got out, um, y- that list I talk about, was just a mental list,
Right.
Right.
and it was when I first got out, I started seeing things, and I was like, huh, I wanted to go to the store. One of the first things I wanted to do was go to the store, and I wanted to be able to pick out, I wanted to buy things on purpose that I couldn't buy in there, because in there you're allowed to buy things, but you're only allowed to buy so many. You're only allowed to buy a certain amount of things. You're allowed to pick from, just a keyboard of things every month. And I wanted to say, you know what? I want to go to the store and I want to buy a gallon of milk, for example, or a soda, or God, I don't know, Kool-Aid with sugar in it. I mean, just the stuff, the simple things that were taken from me in there. I wanted to say, I want this and this and this, just to say that I did it and that I can do it now. And that was my way of rubbing it in the system's face. Like, look, I win. I can buy a gallon of milk. Look, here's, a packet of Kool-Aid with sugar in it. Look, here's, a candy bar. Stuff like that was really number one on my list, as far as doing. But like, I couldn't really do crowded places for a while. I couldn't do crowded places. So like parks, I wouldn't go to the park. I went to the neighborhood, and I had no problem there. I don't know why, but I went to the neighborhood and it was no problem. But I couldn't do other stuff like normal stuff, like go to the park. When I went to the stores, I went late at night when nobody was around. I would go to. I remember Albertsons closed at 10, I believe, and I'd go in there at 9:45. And I just walk around and I'd be like, oh, I can buy this, I can buy that, I can do this, I can do that. That was really, really cool. That was really cool, and my brothers, were a big help. Were a big help. They were like, hey man, just leave it behind. But again, it was very hard because the mental grip that it had on me for 12 years, living it every single day, out here, I guess, out here, a birthday, the holidays, Thanksgiving, it's like, wow, you start preparing for these deals in advance. In there, it's like, it's just another day, it's just another day. So that was a big change for me when, there were like Christmas trees and presents and, the holiday smells, it was like almost new to me again.
Right.
It was almost new to me again. So all that stuff was cool. The little things. It was the little things that were really, really nice. Then the big things came along, and I was like, "Wow, this is even cooler," But it was the little things that mattered the most, and those were, I guess, the little things too that kind of like tightened the screws for me to stay grounded and stay out here and and want to do better, and enjoy them again and again and again and again, because I knew they'd come year after year.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask was, so you mentioned how like when you went in, you had your brother who was like really little, and then you came out and he was older or an adult.
Right.
What
Yeah.
about like simple things just in society? Like, for example, I want to assume that when you went in, they had like VHS tapes. And then,
I guess,
I'm
no,
trying to think back when I was little. And then, when you got out, I'm assuming there was like DVDs, like how was that shock? Was that the only thing? Was there other stuff?
that was actually, I got a funny story because when I got out, when I went in, it was pagers, it was beepers,
Yeah.
right? And when I got out, I was gonna go get a beeper, and my brother's like, "A beeper? Are you stupid? It's you get a phone now." And I'm like, "A phone?" They go, "Yeah, you get a phone." I'm like, "But I want to take it with me everywhere I go." They're like, "You can take your phone wherever you want," and I'm like, "Well, okay, but I want to make calls." They go, "Dude." Look. They sat me down, man, and I was like, "This little phone does everything." The BlackBerry had these tiny little buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, how do I, what do I do? A text, what's a text? An email? Are you kidding? It was it was just a big shock to me, a big shock to me. I remember I went to Rite Aid. I wanted a camera, and the lady's like, "You have a? Why would you spend?" It was a they had disposable cameras, right, for like $3. I think they were like $3 or $2, like in this tub, and I like, wow, I can't believe these things are $2. I had like six, right? I'm like, I'm gonna buy these, and the lady's like, and I'm on my phone, and the lady's like, why are you buying these cameras? Like, oh, I need to take some pictures. They go, why don't you use your phone? And I go, my phone? The lady's like, you don't know how to take pictures on your phone? And I go, no. They go, well, look, and they turn it around, and you see this little thing? That's a lens. And I'm like, it is? Really? And they turned it on, and they started showing, and I was like, so it was for this grown man to be taught how to use a phone, that pagers, you mentioned that you mentioned the word beeper and you get laughed at, all that stuff. It was a culture shock. It really was, because today's technology was barely starting, and the technology that I was growing out was going out the door. Right. So I didn't get the introduction, right. series of it. I was just thrown into it and just say, okay, hope you can swim, because here's this phone, here's this, here's that, here's a laptop, here's whatever it is that you need. You got it, learn it, and learn it fast, and it was, it was pretty funny. It was funny, like, oh, I can do this with my phone? Really? Yeah. Oh, wow. And then phones, of course, evolved, and I evolved with them. Yeah. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was a shock. It was a shock,
And
for
I
them
think,
to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think those disposable cameras, though, took better pictures than those BlackBerry phones. It looks so granulated, like right, you can, when you put it on the computer, it's like, I can't see it. Like, what is this?
They're all pixelated, right? Yeah. But I was amazed. I was like, I could take a picture of this thing. I'm like, I'm doing it, man. Yeah. Wow. And it was just cool, man. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy.
So as you're, learning about all this new technology, I mean, I'm assuming like you're going to have to start learning some of this for work. If you're going to, stay out, what was that situation like, trying to find a job? What was the first job once you got out?
My first job, I was, like I said, I was discriminated against severely because I had the look. I had this look of, the only way I can describe it, I guess, is that it was bad news was coming, So I'd go in, and without even trying, I really had good intention. Okay, I need a job. Can you hire me? But guys would, the people don't see, a goatee with tattoos, and I was, a lot bigger then and a lot more muscular then, and they were like, no, dude, no, I don't think we can have someone like you here. And I'd go home and I would be frustrated, and I'd be like, dude, why aren't people hiring me? And my brother's like, bro, have you looked in the mirror? And I'm like, what, man? They're like, dude, you're like super G over here, and you're going to, Joe Blow over there, and you're intimidating just by looking at him. And I'm like, dude, but what are you talking about? They're like, bro, trust me, you got that look. And I was like, I really don't. I don't think so. If I have this look, then talk to my mom, because I don't, because I've been with this all my life, and they're like, yeah, but smile. I wouldn't smile. I never smiled. My face was always, a very serious, stoned, face. Like my parole officer said, a stone killer's face. And because I told him too, I said, dude, you know what, man, you're wanting me to get this job, man, but I can't get a job, and I've done it, and you can come with me. And they go, bro, you need to smile. I'm like, really? Smile? I go, oh, I guess, I was like the Terminator. Like doing this stuff.
You like those kids when they take pictures in elementary school?
Yeah. Had no clue that, I would go in there with this, and now I know it, I went in there with this look like I'm going to confront this individual in a conversation to try and get my way. And when I did that, I went with, my mind started calculating, okay, I can, the one thing that I'm, I guess, blessed about going to prison was I can read people like a book in a second. That's I look in their eyes, and I know, I know whether I win, whether I lose, whether this guy's going to be a problem, whether this guy's not going to be a. It's just I know instantly, and I guess people in society weren't or aren't adapt to looking at people when they talk. They always look away, or they always do this, or this, that. When there you talk, you look at them, and you talk, and you don't, you get your point across. Out here, I guess it was like you're looking into the back of their skulls or something. And that's what I was doing the whole time. And they're like, bro, you have to relax. You have to relax. Finally, I got a job at Carl's Jr. My brother actually helped me with that. They said, we're going to hire you, but you're going to work at night because we don't want you around customers, man. I'm like, why? Like, what's going on? But as time went on, I understood. I don't think I did. I still don't think I still will fight that. I don't think I had the look, but everyone tells me, dude, you got that look of, and I was like, you got the look of malintent.
Maybe it's an Olvera thing, because sometimes they tell me I got a look too, that I look mad.
I guess it's an Olvera thing. I think it's an Olvera thing, man, because it's like, bro, my wife does it all the time. What's wrong? I'm like, I'm watching the game. What are you talking about? What's wrong?
I just asked her today, what's going on? You upset or something?
And I'm like, no, well, now I am.
Yeah, but you keep asking me, I'm going to get upset, so stop it. You know what I mean?
That is an Olvera thing.
And I get it all the time. Dude, what's the matter? You okay? Yeah, man, I'm enjoying my ice cream. This ice cream come's delicious. You don't look like it's delicious. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, man. I mean, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So, I finally got the job, and one of the manager staff, saw that I spoke English and Spanish very well. I was very well spoken in English, and she's like, hey, maybe you do deserve a shot at a leadership role. And when I got it, it was it went to my head. It went to my head because all of a sudden I wanted things a certain way. Like, okay, no, I want this like this, I want this like this, and I had all these workers like walking around, like pretty much scared, because I wouldn't laugh, I wouldn't kid, everybody else was joking around and cooking and and laughing and I was like, hey, I need this right now. What are you doing? Hey, what so I was, it went, and finally
that's
after
an thing too.
It probably is. Like, hey, what are you doing? How come you're not moving? What's the matter with your hands? Get it going. I met my wife actually at Carl's Jr. We started dating when we were there, and I was in charge. And my wife is very vocal, very social, very if she sees an injustice, she's gonna speak on it. So I was in charge, and it's we're rushing, and I'm like, hey man, I need you to, and she's like, hey, why don't you calm down? And I said, what did you say? And she goes, why don't you calm down? And I said, I'm not gonna calm down, and you don't tell me what to do. And I totally forgot who I was talking to. I totally forgot, and I was like, you know what? If you don't like the way I'm doing things, get out. And she was like, what? And she left.
Wait, you guys were together at that time?
We were together at the time. Yeah, we were together at the time. And finally everything's calming down. And I'm looking around. I'm like, dude, where's my wife? Where's Norma? She wasn't my wife. She was my girlfriend. Where's Norma? They're like, dude, you sent her home, like in a really bad way. And I'm like, what? They're like, you sent her home, dude. And I said, oh my God, I did. I sent her home. And I'm like, and I got to go back to that house, man. So I'm going to get it 100 times worse, man. But, and wow. And so that was, a problem, that was a problem, but I got over it, little by little, I took baby steps. And, speaking of my wife, she was the one that helped me progress. She was the one that said, you speak English and Spanish. You have the potential for this. You have the potential for that. And we would argue all the time. And I'd be like, no, no, I don't have the potential. I'm on parole. I'm a freaking killer. I'm freaking this. I'm freaking that. Do you know? Look at me. I don't. Nobody has any is gonna give me a chance. And I had that because nobody would give me a chance when I first got out. Everybody would reject me, and you can tell when they're like when people look at you, they're like, no, you're just they're like, no, no, not you, no. And you want an explanation, and they just be like, because I said so, or just sorry, pass. And I had that mental block in me for the longest until my wife finally said, you know what, we're sinking here, you know, do something. And finally, I started branching out. Finally, I started, let me apply here. After, I guess the stone broke off my face or whatever, I started applying to different places and I got different jobs and I started liking, real managerial positions, real, responsibility, the challenge of, meeting timeframes for a job done. I started liking all this. And my wife was like a big, where I'm at now, I don't think I'd be here without my wife. I don't think I'd be here. Um, I don't think I'd probably still be at Carl's Jr. if it wasn't for her, because I would have never gotten that mental block out if it wasn't for her. She put her foot in my butt so many times. And I mean, good Lord, I love her for it now, but we would argue so much, back then because nobody talked to me that way. What do you mean? Who are you talking to? You better watch your mouth. Uh, uh, but now, I'm just so grateful, that she pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And now I'm where I'm at, now I'm, a project manager, I'm doing what I really like, I'm in a, all because of her, and it's, I'm not, everybody does their own, and of course I did my part, but she was a big, big deal in this, a big deal in my success. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And I'll always be grateful to her for it. It's true what they say, about a great man. There's a great woman right there. It really is true. It really is true.
Oh, yay, Norma.
Yeah, for real.
And
For
so
real.
now you're in a position where you can also help other people find jobs too, right? Because
Right.
you're involved in the hiring process at your work.
I'm involved in the hiring process. And my message, my thing is this now. My message is I don't want people when they step out of prison to think that the world is against them, that the world is like, maybe there's a few circles of society that really are, anti parole, anti ex convict, anti, um, oh, you did it, you don't deserve a second chance. You don't deserve anything. You're the scum of the earth. There are people like that. I just want people to know that when they step out of that world, it's really, really tough. But it's still tough for me. It really, really is tough for me. Still, when they step out to leave it and to better themselves, because it can be done. It can be done. I came out with one of the highest forms of parole. I did a lot of time. I did time in some of the scariest places on the planet. You know, and I did it, and I'm here now, and I'm proof positive that it can be done. I have friends. I have a friend who did the same amount of time as me, um, and he got out as well, and he's doing great now. And it's because I call him, he calls me. We have a friend in Los Angeles that's tattooed. Like, I'm not kidding. He's tattooed from like here, all right. Like, he's tattooed. The guy's a nurse.
Oh, wow.
The guy's a nurse. So like there's like it's funny, man. There's like people that come in with like stab wounds and stuff, and he was like, "Rrr, I'm your nurse," They're like, "Help me now," and he's helping you. So there is hope, man, and that's my message. That there's hope, that there's help. There's real life there's a real life help out here, man. No, but not everyone's going to shut the door. People will, because I went through it. People will, I guess because, you're living a certain way for a certain amount of time makes you that way, makes you look a certain way, makes you act a certain way, makes you, respond to a situation a certain way. That's going to happen. But with time and with work, it lessens. It's not as a hard influence on you as it used to be, because believe me, to this day, I still, the tiger gets out of the cage every once in a while. You know what I mean? And my wife is like, hey, whoa, 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 relax, relax. Um, it happens, but that doesn't mean it's hopeless. It's very, very hard, and even with, my support system, I had a great support system. The whole entire family supported me, my mother's side, my father's side. I had a great support system, you know what I mean? But and with all that support, still when I got out, 2, 3 months after, and I still had these bad intentions, I still had, because of me in my mind, I still had these bad intentions. So it was up to me to change. It was up to me to say, okay, you know what? The support system is great, but it's up to me. My wife pushing me in a certain direction is great, but it's up to me. These bad breaks that, these people looking at me the way they are, I can take it in a negative manner, or I can just say, okay, next. Where can I apply to next? What can I do next? How can I get this next? And that's what I did. That's what I did. And it all goes, down to like almost a bowl of cereal at my mom's house. That I liked it. I liked it. I just liked different things. And I want people who get out to know that, to reach in there and look for whatever they like and just feed off that one thing. For me, it was a bowl of cereal and a burrito, I think. For somebody else, it could be, gosh, I mean, a soda or a walk down the street at night, it's just, I don't want people to think it's hopeless. With or without support, it's not hopeless. It's all in here, and it's all with the want. There is real help. There really is a difference now between now and then. There's a big, big difference in help. People really do want to help parolees and men and women to do right. And I for one am one of those people. I hired someone who's on probation now. And hey, if you're gonna be straight up, I'll help you. If you continue to help yourself, there's nothing wrong with that, man. And it helps me. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
It helps me to help them. And that's what I want to do. I want to help. I want to make sure everything's okay. I want to make sure people get a chance. Right. That's it. That's all it is. Just one chance. And maybe some people really won't take advantage of the opportunity, and maybe some people will. But we can start little by little to shut down these circles that don't believe in, giving the second chance, that don't believe in, once a convict, always a convict, that believe in, these guys are a complete loss. These men and women are a complete loss. No, you know what? They're really not. No, they're really not. They're really people that really are trying. They just need the chance.
Right.
That's it.
Right. So, you talk a lot about, like it's about changing your mindset, right? Did you have like tangible tools that you use to kind of help change that? Because like for me, for example, I went through depression, but I realized as I was learning, like it's about my mindset, and how I felt about what I said in my mind to myself, like really helped me with my depression and how I felt about myself. So for me, I did like journaling and meditation and things like that. Do you have any like tangible tools for other people, that you might have used?
Oh man, this is gonna sound weird, but I really don't.
No, okay.
I don't. It was pure will. It was pure will. And to be honest, it hasn't stopped. it hasn't stopped. I still want more. I still want, I still want to promote. I still want more and more. And that want for me is what, is what keeps me going in a
Mm-hmm.
positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like my wife says, hey man, we're doing okay. Like we're doing okay, but we could be better. But
Yeah.
wait a minute, no, 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 this is it. But we could be better. We could do more. And that to me is what really helps me out.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps me out. I mean, I want better. I always want better. I always want more. When I'm shaving and I see my tattoos, I remember this guy, and I'll be like, man, dude, we're gonna be better than this. We're gonna be better than these tattoos. I can take these tattoos off, but I don't because they remind me, of where I was and how bad it was, and where I don't want to go back to. You know, um, it's
I
just
I think that in itself, I think is a tool is just reminding yourself every day of your accomplishments. Your first accomplishment of getting the job at Carl's Jr. and then getting another job, and now becoming a manager. I think for me that would be a tangible thing of just reminding yourself of
yeah,
the
yeah.
accomplishments that you've made, even if they're small. Just getting out,
Right.
you
No.
know.
Yeah. And like I said, like I still remember it was a bowl of frosted flakes, and from that bowl of frosted flakes came, okay, I can do this, and I
Mhm.
can do this,
Mhm.
and I can do this, and now it's like this big tree of little successes,
Mhm.
little successes. I'm not doing outstandingly well, but I have a house, I have a wife, I have kids, I have a family. I don't have tons of money, but the bills are paid. I don't have 5 cars, but I can get around. And that to me is success.
Right.
That to me is success. That to me says I made it.
Mhm.
That to me says I'm doing it. That to me says I'm gonna go forward. And one day, it's gonna get better. Even though it's good now, it could get better and
Right.
always better. And that's
Right.
the way I see things. That's the way I see things.
Speaking of getting better, are there any challenges that you still encounter?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh man. Um, I dress, and this is me. I dress a certain way. I dress. I still wear my Cortez. I still wear my. I think Dre said it best. My khakis with a cuff and a crease. My Levi's. I still wear them. A certain way. I'll buy a pair of Cortez. A tank top with a white shirt. I still do that sometimes, but I do it because I know who I am, and I'm very well placed. I'm very well centered in this belief that even though they see this thug, I'm a real good person. You know, and I have fun with it now. Um, is there a real challenge? There is none because I'm the one that makes my own way. I'm the one that makes my own way. There might be administrative challenges. To wait in line to get a promotion, but I think that's it. It The challenge is the mind. I think challenge is the way you think. The challenge is the way stopping yourself, and that's what I did. The challenge was me getting over. My wife telling me you can do this. I'll be like, no, I can't. Oh, yes, you can. No, no, I can't.
Your
Once I
arms
said,
were
okay, yes, I
squirting.
can. Yeah. Once I said yes, I can, then it was cool. It was awesome, and I did it. And now I know I can do more, and that's an addiction to me. You know, that's an addiction to me, and I love it.
And so we talked a little bit about second chances earlier. And speaking of second chances, there was just a bill that was passed that gave parolees the right to vote again.
Right, right. Hmm.
So how do you feel about that?
I think that's great. I think that's great because there's a whole new part of society now that needs to be addressed. That's going to have a voice. That's going to force whoever's going to go into office to take these guys, these men and women, into consideration. Because they're going to vote a certain way.
Mhm.
And if these guys are saying, this is really broken, this system is broken, and if one person tells you, you kind of don't believe it. If a second person tells you, you might take it into consideration. But if a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, thousands and thousands of people tell you this is broken, and if you want my vote, I need you to tell me you're going to fix it. I think that that's going to be taken into consideration now. I think that these guys, these men and women that are going to get that right, I think are going to be okay. You know, the right to vote is, it's, I don't know, some people take it as very lightly, like, I'm not going to vote this year, but it's a big deal. It's a
Yep.
big deal. People don't understand. They really need to get out there and vote. People don't understand. And now that these people have that right, some of these people come out and, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed. But some people come out very well read, with some sort of education, um, with real well-rounded opinions, well thought out opinions, not just one way, so these people will have a say so. And I think it's great. I think, it's gonna stir the pot up a little bit and make our elected officials change. Make these elected officials say, okay, you know what, maybe this system is broken. Maybe this really does need to have paid more attention to. Maybe this help over here really is needed. And I think that that's going to help a lot.
Right.
With our guys.
Because before it was you had to wait a certain amount of time before you were
Yeah.
released to vote.
Yeah.
It was
You
like
had to, I think you had to demonstrate that you were going to be positive to society. You weren't going to have any setbacks. There was just a long checklist, of things to do. And
And if you didn't meet those checklists, like they would deny you
yeah,
from voting?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just one. There'd be like 30 things, and if you just missed one, nope.
Wow.
Yeah, nope.
That's
So now that they can do it,
that's
um,
voter suppression.
yeah,
And then I know that we also talked about this before, but I had made an argument that people who are still incarcerated should also have the right to vote, because
yeah,
I feel like they I guess they can be affected by some of the laws. But you shut that down real quick.
yeah,
You want to repeat that again?
yeah. Well, the reason I think is because if I'm in charge of a whole yard, there's about, I don't know, 1,300 guys on a yard, and I have my opinion. It's going to be my opinion that all these guys are going to vote on, not their own. Because I'm going to say, you're going to vote this way, because if you don't, you're going to have a problem. And that's why I think that they don't let them vote inside of the prison walls,
Right.
because a vote can be manipulated in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
to go a certain way with a certain, the race of people. Yeah, it's better that they stay out here and they can have
Yeah.
express their own opinion,
And that's something that I
versus-
didn't think about at the time, which is I'm glad I brought that up.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's a different world. It's a different world.
Definitely. So to wrap it up, I guess my last question would be if you can go back to your younger self, like what would you tell yourself, before you went to prison? Like,
You know, I would just say the ego that I had. I was full of myself back then. I was full of myself, and I had an ego the size of Mount Everest, and I would just, right now it's live and let live. Just live and let live, man. Be yourself, be happy. Um, don't let the little things seem like it's this impossible, incredible, outstanding deal. It's really not. It's just not. It's nothing is so important that it's going to cost you a certain amount of time of your life. It's just not that serious. It's just not. I'm sure there's certain events that require certain action, but what happened to me at my younger self was not one of them. That was not one of them. And I'll just say, just relax, just chill. It's better this way.
yeah. Yeah. Cool.
It is.
That's good.
Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I really hope that, your story helps someone else who was
Yeah,
recently released to really show them that, you can accomplish a lot and people are on your side. I think you are definitely a testament to that. You've accomplished so much and you're doing so well for
thank you,
yourself and your
thank you.
kids too. I see
Uh,
that on Facebook and
yeah, thank you.
I really hope that it helps someone and changes their lives for sure.
I hope so too. And I thank you guys for having me on, man. It's believe me, someone will hear it and somebody will get the message. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope.
definitely. Maybe you can come up with your own podcast. No. Talk about your story.
I
No.
got the equipment. Let me know.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
All right. Well,
Bye.
you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.